All right, so now we're through 2 of the exercises. Let's go to the third exercise. So the third exercise is still going to be a little bit more dynamic. Here what we're doing is we're doing that same present value of an annuity. We're just assuming the cash flows don't start right away. So in this case, the cash flows are going to start at time 3. So again, we're going to always go back. Let's just recycle our model. So let's copy this model, move it over. We can set up our answer cell. And we see that we're not right quite yet. 250.49 is what we have right now. That's not right. The reason it's not right is because our cash flows are starting at time 0. Our first cash flow instead should start at time 3. So we should have 3 cash flows in periods 3, 4, and 5. Now we want to adapt our formulas to make this happen for us. So we're going to go into our if function, and we're going to use an and within the if function. And so the and is going to mean that we have 2 conditions that we have to satisfy. So the first condition, I'm going to delete this old one, is that the year, let's get to that cell, the year must be greater than or equal to our starting period, which in this case is 3. All right, so let's just start with that and make sure that works. So we're going to say C10 must be greater than or equal to C7. We're going to copy that down. And we did the first part, right? We have no cash flows in the first 3 years, or 0, 1, and 2. We now have our 3 cash flows in 3, 4, and 5. But now we have too many cash flows. They go the whole rest of the way. That's where we can use the and function. So we're going to come back into our formula, hit comma, and we'll put our second condition in here. So our second condition is going to be that the year, so C10, must be less than, well, in this case, less than 6, right? Because we want years 3, 4, and 5. But when we get to 6, we don't want any more cash flows. So programmatically, we can say it must be less than the starting period plus the number of periods. We've got to be careful to lock both of those. That way the cell references don't change as we move the cell down and copy it. We now copy that cell, paste it down, and we should have our correct answer. All right, our sum updated, and now we're matching our correct answer. Our last step then is going to be to use our math formula. Again, I don't want to keep typing the present value of an annuity formula, so I'm going to copy my old formula, and we're going to adapt it. Let's go in there, and we're going to delete what I moved before, and we're just going to start with the present value of an annuity. All right, so with the present value of annuity, now we know we're starting with cash flow 3. All right, so let me delete a little bit here of our writing. I'm going to erase this. And now we know that our cash flows, well, they start in period 3. So our annuity formula is always based off the prior period. So the present value is going to be as of time 2. But again, what we're interested in is the present value at time 0. So the present value at time 0 is equal to the present value at time 2 divided by 1 plus r. And in this case, if we already have 2 years, if we're 2 years out, we just need to discount this 2 years. So what we should be able to do is come back into our Excel function. And now we take that whole present value of an annuity formula, divide by 1 plus r, raised to the second power. I'm being careful with my parentheses so that all gets divided by. And we see that our answer is correct. Now, it's not as correct as I'd like it, though. The only problem with this formula is that this number 2 is what I would call hard-coded in, right? It's typed in, we typed in a 2 where we could have used a parameter or one of our inputs. So what's going to be better than that, let's delete that. And instead, we're going to reference our starting period. Our starting period's 3, though. And that's okay. Our cash flows start in period 3, but we know there's a lag of 1 year, right? Because our annuity formula over here, right, adjusts for the fact that the present value is the year before that cash flow flow is, right? So the first cash flow is at time 3, and then the present value is at time 2. So then we can adjust for that by using that number of periods minus 1. So once we make that adjustment, hit enter, we're going to get the right answer, and it's always going to be right no matter how that starting period changes.